It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the films of February 28th, 2003. With three films to look at here, let's go ahead and wrap the month up. Let's start off with the biggest new release of the weekend. That is Jet Li and DMX and Andrzej Bartkowiak's latest classic, if you will, Cradle to the Grave.
Alright, y'all know what to do. Just get it on. Ever seen a black diamond?
I want my stones, Mr. Big.
You're not gonna be able to do that.
The stones are not what you think they are.
There's no gun policy, no over the front. Break out the heat.
Rated R. Starts Friday, February 28th.
And in that trailer right there, you pretty much saw the two most notable things about that movie. One, the song X Gonna Give It To You, and Gabrielle Union doing a striptease, a pretty hot striptease, but even then, she doesn't get naked, so just like the rest of this movie, it's entirely pointless, and there's no reason to watch it. But that's what you get when you get a movie by Andrzej Bartkowiak, and great cinematographer, not a great director, and this film is definitely another one of those movies that's really not all that good. When his daughter is kidnapped and held in exchange for priceless diamonds, the leader of a crew of highly skilled urban thieves led by DMX forges an unlikely alliance with a Taiwanese internet intelligence official played by Jet Li to rescue her. The race against the clock to find the precious stones unravels a plot to distribute a deadly new weapon of war. And you really do not give a crap about any of these people in this movie. It's a generic, lackluster thriller that's trying to be something like on the level of something like a Heat or something like that. But even then, Heat had more to it than this movie does, by a long comparison. And yeah, Tom Arnold plays a serious role in here. I think that's all you really need to know about this movie, to know that, yeah, this is probably not the movie for you. It's got a great cast overall. Jet Li, DMX, Gabrielle Union, Mark Dacascos, Kelly Hu, Anthony Anderson, Chi McBride is also in here. But as soon as you see Tom Arnold in there, you know it's box office poison from the get-go, because, yeah, that's the death ringer right there. And, yeah, I've got nothing else to say about this movie, because it's a pretty lackluster film, and you know where it's going to end up. You know what's going to happen. You know what the plot twists are going to be. You know who's working for what side. And there's nothing of value to it whatsoever. And the best things about it, you could easily find online if you want to really listen to or watch those parts. But even then, it's not really worth it in the long run to even give the movie that type of credit overall. So why are you even watching the film? Like, what's the point? I mean, does DMX have a loyal fan base that's really going to want to watch this? Does Jet Li have a loyal fan base that wants to watch him in this, rather than actually putting something in where they can actually use their talents to it? There's a whole lot better films with these two that they've been in, and this is just not one of those films. So, yeah, I've got nothing else to say about this one. It's released in late February for a reason. It's a forgettable film. It's not worth it in the long run, but People in America made it a hit. It made double its budget, so success on their part. Good old Warner Brothers. But I don't even know what the point of that whole thing, what that last sentence was. But anyway, let's go ahead and move on to hopefully a better movie here. Let's talk about Poolhall Junkies.
To the last grip, Poolhall Junkies is the best pool shark film since Paul Newman's The Hustler.
I'm just getting started.
And easily outshoots, outcharms,
What's it worth to you?
and outclasses The Color of Money.
I'm sure it all.
Queue up for Poolhall Junkies. There's no need to be scared. There's time to kill. Poolhall Junkies, rated R. Starts February 28th in select cities.
You know, just because The Hustler is the only notable pool movie out there doesn't mean you get the honor of saying that it's the best pool movie since The Hustler. And The Color of Money is a much better film compared to this. I mean, I know that came from Harry Knowles, who made it Cool News, but it just goes to show you that guy was, as much as he was loved by most people, he did not put a lot of good reviews out there. I mean, remember, this is the same guy that gave Godzilla a positive review because the studio seduced him into giving him a review by taking him out on this big promotional push, and that's what happened with that film. But I digress. Poolhall Junkies, it's kind of a story that's very similar to The Hustler when you really look at it. You have a pool hustler who is opposed by his former mentor with a new prodigy in a climactic big-stakes 9-ball matchup with Chaz Palminteri, Rod Steiger in his last film role, Michael Rosenbaum, Rick Schroeder, Allison Eastwood, and Christopher Walken. It's the second movie in this year that Christopher Walken has been in, and it's been a terrible, terrible movie. I mean, not quite as bad as Kangaroo Jack, which You don't really need to do a whole lot much to be on that level, but this is not that fun of a film. This is directed by Mars Callahan, who co-stars in the film, co-writes the film, and the last thing he was actually in was That Thing You Do. That was one of his more notable films that he was involved in. But this is just... it's not worth it, man. It's a film that is literally trying to be the Hustler for the new generation, and there's a reason why there's not that many pool movies out there besides The Hustler, which is a classic film on its own merits. Like, there's no reason to make a film like this unless you're going to do something different. Like, at least with The Color of Money, when Martin Scorsese did that film, he put at least his style to it, and at least it was trying to do more in that film than they didn't try to do here. This is nothing but trying to just modernize The Hustler for a new generation, and it just doesn't work. It's a film that just really is lackluster in so many levels. It's not that engaging, it's not that exciting, it's just not worth it in the long run. That's pretty much all I got to say about that one, but let's go ahead and move on to our last movie, which is probably the most interesting movie of the entire week. It's a little film called A Fish Tale, but some of you may know it as Help, I'm a Fish.
Have you ever wondered what it would be like to see the world under the sea? Well, flying friends are about to find out.
Chuck, come on over, give me a hand. There's a fish there.
The tide.
They stumble into a secret passage
Check this out.
that leads to a mad professor
Let me show you how to make fish ocean.
and drink a potion that sends them into the ocean.
Stop! Wait! If you don't get the antidote within 48 hours, you'll be a fish forever! Stella! Oh, no!
Stella, fly.
What happened?
I turned into a jellyfish.
So this is a very, very weird film. The story of this is that you have a teenager who has his fishing plans abruptly canceled, so he finds himself stuck with his little sister and his precocious cousin at Anna's house. As one thing leads to another, the situation will take an unexpected turn when the kids chance upon the boathouse of the eccentric scientist, Professor McCrill, and Stella accidentally drinks a yellowish potion. Now as the children end up stranded in the deep blue sea, they only have 48 hours to find the antidote. Will the young adventurers remain fish forever? See, this plot synopsis doesn't even tell you that beforehand, that this potion turns you into a fish. Like, whoever wrote this storyline on IMDb, like, I go to IMDb for most of my synopsises so I can read that off, so I can at least get a sense of what the movie is about. But sometimes these plot synopsises really need to be proofread. Like, they need to be better written than what this is. It's just like, it doesn't even tell you what actually happens to the kids. But yeah, they drank this potion and they turn into fish. And there's also an antidote where if you drank that potion, it turns a fish into a human. And this was originally released in Denmark in the year 2000. And then it made releases in the United Kingdom. And supposedly it got a release here in the US in 2003. Although there was a redub done 3 years down the road in 2006. So I don't really know who to believe here. Box Office Mojo or Wikipedia, but I'm just going by Box Office Mojo standards. But it is a very intriguing film for a number of different reasons. One is the voice cast for the English dub, because you have some prolific names in here. Alan Rickman, of course, who plays the bad guy here. A good bad guy, too. It's a very different Alan Rickman performance in terms of what we're used to hearing from him. You also got Terry Jones, John Payne, and a young man by the name of Aaron Paul, who plays the role of Chuck in the movie. What would you call him? The obese kid, pretty much. And yeah, that's a young Aaron Paul before he eventually went on to become famous with Breaking Bad. It's funny because he actually was cast in the role in 1998, so this is a really, really young Aaron Paul. This was around the time when he was also on The Price is Right, too. Like, he made it all the way to the bonus round. I think he actually won the Showcase Showdown, too, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while since I've seen that episode, but you can find that one online. But from an animation perspective, this is some really good-looking animation overall, but it's the story that's just really all over the place. Like, it feels like a little bit of a mix between, The Incredible Mr. Limpid, which they've been trying to remake that movie for a number of years, and you know what? Every time they try to make a new version of it, every time the test animation comes out, it just looks horrible. Like, there's one where Jim Carrey has the face of the character from that movie that Don Knotts played, and it's just... the CG perfection there will very rarely. I don't think we'll ever see a remake of that movie, which we shouldn't. I mean, that's a film that worked for the time period. You had the animation of Chuck Jones, and that's something that you should just stay away from to try to do that for a new generation, unless you have the best visual effects animation that you can find. But it's like this movie's kind of like a mix between that and 80s Don Bluth. And the most notable thing about this particular movie is what I'm about to show you here. It's the scene where the villain of the movie, played by Alan Rickman, dies. And like I said before, it's the way that this is done. So basically, what happens is that the bad guy sees this antidote and decides to use it on the fish, taking a little bit of a time and giving these fish human abilities. And the plan of the main kid of the movie, Fly, is to basically just have him answer questions. Answer questions about simple questions like geometry questions or math questions and all that. And when the fish doesn't realize it, he keeps drinking it until he turns into a human. And just look at this scene, and I just want you to observe how insane this death scene is.
6,561 is? Yeah, but do you know what happens when an object travels at the speed of light?
It turns into pure energy.
What came first, the chicken or the egg?
Depends on the relative amount of molecules in the universe.
What happens to a fish if he drinks too much antidote?
It becomes human.
Can a human breathe underwater?
Of course not.
I mean, my God, that is... I mean, keep in mind, this was released in the year 2000. Movies were trying to get away from the 80s style Don Bluth films that were classics, Secret of Nim, An American Tail, Land Before Time, that weren't afraid to go dark when they needed to. And I'll give them credit. I like that they went that route, because holy crap, that was dark as hell. Like, the dude doesn't even die, get a last, no, he just realizes that, of course I can't breathe underwater, and then that's it, silence, and then he's dead. Like, my God, man, I have to give the movie the credit for having the balls to go that dark, because, man, that is, that's really something that they were able to go down that route. And actually, the more I think about it, this movie's kind of a little bit underrated, because it's a gorgeously animated film. It's an idea that's actually got some clever ideas to it, and it's a film that could have easily been an obnoxious mess, but when it does stuff like that and actually goes to the insane levels that it does, it makes it worth it in the long run to stick around for it. And I gotta give it credit for going down the route it does, because holy crap, man, it can get dark in an instant, but it's kind of an underrated little gem that you can easily find it online. I'd highly recommend checking it out and seeing it for yourself, because it is something you kind of have to see to believe. It's that insane, it's that crazy, and it's that kind of fun too. It's one of those films that it will make you think back to the days of old 80s G, where you could pretty much do whatever you want to, instead of today where the G rating has just become obsolete. But no, this feels like a film that was plopped out of the 1980s and brought to the year 2000. That's how intense some of this movie gets at times, and it's just like, it's a surprisingly fun little film, man. I gotta give it a lot of credit for going down that dark route when it needs to, man. But that is Help, I'm a Fish, aka A Fishtail. And so with that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. And if you thought that last movie was weird, next week's movies includes a weird film that probably should not work, but it was one of the big hits of the early part of the year. Steve Martin and Queen Latifah in the comedy Bringing Down the House. We also have Bruce Willis in the war drama Tears of the Sun, and also Laurel Canyon. So 3 films we'll take a look at next time around. But until then, thank you so much for watching. And if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the plays on the next page. Check out the previous episode. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this on this channel. So with that said, I'm off. I will see you guys next time. And until then, as always, take care.